So we have the founding director in the studio, as you can see, young and handsome, but as wise as he can be. Mr. Ronald, founding director of DreamXchange. Welcome to Radio Eerstrivier. Baie welkom. Baie welcome. Welcome to Radio Eerstrivier. And we want to say thank you so much for making time to be here. I know you are busy. I've been following you for quite some time now in terms of what you are doing, amazing things that you're doing there. Not trying to do, doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So welcome. So to everyone out there that is tuned into the show, can you quickly just introduce yourself, soos altyd sê, hier ons die hele klerekas weet. Wie is Mr. Ronald? Waar vanaf kom jy? En vertel ons 'n bietjie meer van jouself.
Thank you very much. I must say that this is one of the most impressive intros I've ever had. I've been on radio for about 14 years now, on and off.
Sure.
But thank you. I mean,
Sure.
we're going to give you a special prize at some point.
Thank you so much.
But now you've set such a high standard. I've got to live up to that. So yeah, it's, I mean, one can go through and see. As you can see, I'm a very, very young 60-year-old, and you almost got as an impressive shirt as I have. Which
I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
I think it's very impressive. I very
Thank
seldom
you.
get outdone by shirts, but yours is looking good. Yeah, we're not going to go into the history too far back, but how did this whole thing start? So about in 2008, and actually about 2006, and we were also going through an unemployed period with a family of 2 kids ourselves.
Sure.
And so my wife, also founding director of DreamWorker and DreamXchange, said, what are you going to do for the rest of your life? And without me even thinking about it, I said, yeah, I think I'm going to try and solve unemployment in this country.
Sure.
And then you go back and look at that statement you've just said, and you go, okay, that's an interesting challenge.
Yes.
So we started DreamWorker, which was helping unemployed people find work. They walked through into offices. We signed them up. We helped them with CVs. And we started to get them into various opportunities, which could have been, full-time work, part-time work, contract work. By about 2016, 2017, although our funders and everybody else supporting us, because we're a non-profit organization, thought we were quite successful. We looked at ourselves and said, the population in South Africa, never mind the Western Cape or Cape Town, was just growing, an unemployment population. And we kept looking at the stats, and it just said that, for every 900 people, say there were 10 million at the time looking for work, every 95 out of 100 weren't finding work.
Sure.
And that's even got worse today. And we realized that trying to get people into the formal economy and to jobs was only a very small fraction of success. What about if we were getting 20 through DreamWorker to 25 into some form of work, part-time work, full-time work, job, day work, we sat down and thought, what about the other 75? So with our backgrounds in marketing, my wife, my team, great team we have, we kind of put our heads together and thought, no, employment.
Self-employment.
Which leads, is the kind of stepping stone to entrepreneurship. Is really what we need to be focusing on. And then, how do we do that? And in 2008, 2010, 2012, there wasn't the technology around for that. But now in 2016, 18 onwards, we started to say, let's build a platform for self-employment. So it's not a job-seeking site. It's all about how do we economically empower people and how do they find the strength from within to go that route. And so, 80% of sub-Saharan Africa has always been in the gig economy, the contract economy, the part-time work economy. And although there will always be formal jobs, that's still diminishing relative to the amount of people. And so we thought, how can somebody, and I'll give my son as an example, who did not get a matric, so there's a bit of a positive for people. Your secondary education is not a death certificate for you. Your empowerment and your future life and your dreams are within.
Lovely.
It's nothing to do
Lovely.
with
Lovely.
And so, he was asked to leave school in grade 11 because he was probably going to be their first failure, but he's as sharp as a tack. He's an intelligent guy. So 7 or 8 years later, he's now doing a dog walking service, a little taxi service, a house sitting service, a research internet service. He's looking to get into coding, does a little taxi. And so all of a sudden, he's got 3, 4, 5 things he does every day.
Sure.
And so, how can we inspire people? So if you go to our YouTube site, which is DreamXchange YouTube site, you'll see people who have sold something on the street, started a car wash down in Muizenberg, started surfboard repairs in Masipumelele. These are the people who are inspiring us to inspire anybody else listening to say, the future of work is not the formal job. That's only going to probably take up 10 to 15% of people coming out of tertiary education, secondary education. The future of work is to know that A, you are a magnificent being.
Yes.
B, you got the power within. C, we've all got a dream, because that's how Dream Workers started. We wanted to say, well, what should we ask? How do we know what this company we're going to form all those 14 years back? And when we asked the question to tens of thousands of people coming in to get interviewed,
Sure.
we said, "What's the dream you have for your life?" And everybody had a dream, I really want a job, I don't want a job, maybe I don't want to do. But when you said, what's the dream you have for your life? That's where it starts.
Sure.
Why am I here on this planet? And what contribution can I make? So it's all about contribution. Okay. So that was kind of a quick intro. And I'm sure you got other questions to ask.
I have many. Just based on your intro. Okay, what I love about what you've said is, and something that I want to touch on. I think I did a segment where I spoke about that you not having a matric certificate doesn't mean the end of the world. And with all due respect to the ones that have the matric, to the ones that have the degrees and all of that, I've made a statement the other day to say that it's not necessary. I'm not against education. Don't get me wrong.
No, neither.
I'm not against education, but I have this strong belief that that is not the end goal for you, and that if you look at the most powerful innovators of the guys that have started the most extraordinary businesses is the school dropout. Mark Zuckerberg, for example, he's a college dropout. Sure. You understand? There is some of them that are Forbes billionaires, but they don't even have a matric certificate to prove. You understand? How important is it, and not we trying to tell the government what to do, to have programs, because I see the need for synergy between what you are doing and schools when it comes to your matriculants, let's say from grade 11 to your matriculants. I see the need for DreamXchange to be an active role player in schools. How important is it? And we don't know who of the government is tuned in that can make it happen for us, but I mean, how important is it for them to look at bringing this? Because I know there are certain countries where entrepreneurship is like, and there's certain private schools in South Africa that offers entrepreneurship as a subject in school, but how important is it for them to look at things like that at your organizations, to bring that at an early childhood development or early adult, from an early adult point of view, for them to look at entrepreneurship, not raising a society or a generation which is dependent on a job, that understand that wealth and wisdom and all of these other things doesn't only come from a job, but if you shift your focus in entrepreneurship and self-employment, the way you put it, which I like, how important is it for this to get into school level?
I think it's a fantastic question, and I'll tell you why. Because the current model says, go through secondary schooling, possibly into tertiaries. You can. That's going to supposedly guarantee you a job, and it doesn't. And there's a simple shift here. Get people interested in how they can economically empower themselves from an early age. So that's why we so powerfully want to put across the concept of self-economic empowerment and self-employment, because if you can start, as you rightly said, children in the secondary education to start thinking about how they can, and it's happening around the world. A couple of years ago, somebody said to me, the youngest and most successful YouTuber was like a 12-year-old girl who earned $4 million a year. And so there's lots of people who are showing us from a really young age. So instead of saying to them, when you get your matric or when you get, then let's start thinking about where we're going to slot you into the current society.
Exactly.
So now this is a contentious issue. The job, the job, has become a death certificate, has become a dead end for people, because they're focusing on, if I can just get this, I'm going to get a job. But if you can start early on. So we are already working with the tertiary educational system, a lot of the TVETs, and the system there is 18 months theory, 18 months practical. And in that practical, they're going to be all joining DreamXchange, and they're going to be start doing something. So say, for example, you're doing IT. While you're doing a practical with an organization, clump together as a group of IT students from a particular college or university and start doing something, a gig, even if it's doing a pro bono work,
Yes.
do a website
Yes.
for a non-profit, coming to Eerstrivier. I love your premises, by the way. I think it's quite magical.
Thank you.
It's really hip.
Thank you.
And I love the fact that, we get them started now and start. I mean,
Agree.
sometimes it is in you. And so you're the Zuckerbergs you mentioned, all those wonderful entrepreneurs through the Steve Jobs and that. Those guys had it in them very early. And because they didn't, they almost skipped the schooling educational system. Now we all have been in the educational system, but how can we start getting them? So we're starting with the tertiary education. So how can you start doing your gigs and your contract work and your, now? And then we're going to go. So, to answer your question, very, very important to get people thinking about self-economic empowerment and self-employment. So everybody, I've been very contentious about, we've got an unemployment problem in the country. We don't have an unemployment problem. We have an economic disempowerment problem.
100%
Some people
agree
have
with
even
you.
got jobs, are economically disempowered. They haven't got enough money to feed the family.
Exactly.
And so, what a job does is like I'm only dedicated to one organization, and then I'm only going to get so much of a role. I can't climb to the top of the pyramid because there's 1,000 workers, 100 managers, 10 directors, and one CEO. So that pyramid doesn't allow you to get to the top and become some multi-millionaire. But why can't you start gigging now and have that freedom? So self-economic empowerment is about the magic that comes through you. It's about your creativity, because let's be honest, Bevan, everybody's unique on this planet.
Yes.
Everybody has a different skill. So in other words, the divine infinite, all people could call it God, your primary source, whatever you want to call it. You come onto this planet to say, what am I going to do?
Yes.
What's Bevan going to do to bring some magic to the world? What's Ronald going to do to bring some magic into the world? And when you go onto our YouTube channel, you'll find people doing the simpler stuff and making economic empowerment process for themselves. Now, why we've got the colleges thinking, they said their entrepreneurial courses have failed. Okay, and I'm not. They've said this to us. There's no news to them, and then they see self-economic empowerment, self-employment, as a first step, because everybody can stay self-employed and be economically empowered, or they can start growing that into a business.
Yes.
So it's a journey you can go all the way. While you're doing that, you may do such a magic. While you are gigging for an organization, they may say, you know what, I think you're amazing. We're going to bring you on board. So self-economic empowerment shows when you started early, shows enthusiasm, shows imagination, shows creativity.
Beautiful.
So how do we connect it to the powers that we've spoken to the tertiary educational system in this country and government, and they are absolutely over the moon to say we need to get our students onto DreamXchange. And it's a huge, we're a tiny company,
Beautiful.
Tiny. So we're still going to talk to the secondary. There are people doing entrepreneurship where, with no disrespect to anybody listening in entrepreneurship programs, it tends to also box you in. So you're the 5 steps to becoming an entrepreneur. No. But if you went to Steve Jobs, he started building a very different, his imagination was there needs to be a laptop in every house. Sorry, there needs to be a computer in every house.
Yes.
Okay. And where did he start? In his garage with his friend, his father's garage. So nobody gave him the 10 steps of how to build a business. A business grows over time. Then, once you grow, you go, I need some more team members on board. I need some finance. But if you learn all of that in 6 months, it's so overwhelming that you never get off first base.
Exactly.
So start something now. Sell T-shirts, make something, do something, offer your services. And I always say to people, show up. Because when you show up and you're a little bit more persistent than anybody else, you're going to get the gig.
You're going to get it, yes. Show up. We are learning. Show up. Show up is the first thing, eh? Show up. Okay, cool. I, like many other, believe that the economy, the success of South Africa, let's just focus on South Africa quickly. The success of South Africa's economy lies in the success of small businesses or local economy. Whether it's formal training or the guys that's shifting into whether it's informal trading and the guys shifting into formal trading, or whether it's formal trading. So that is my belief. I believe that the success of economy is lying in that as well. With all due respect to the bigger corporates, the ones that is trading publicly, that's trading internationally, whatsoever. However, from your point of view, what do you think we from that's filling the gap from a small trading point of view, or the smaller ones in the economy, playing a vital role. What is that synergy that needs to happen between companies and individuals like that, ensuring that we take the economy, the smaller economy, small to medium enterprises, to a level where we can get to the bigger corporates? What is that synergy that the bigger corporates is doing that we don't do with one another?
Well, I think another great question. I think it starts with a mindset change. And I think the banks, the big corporates, have been doing what they call enterprise development, but it's done to tick off a box.
Yes.
Yeah, they do help people, and that's great. But at a broader level, while enterprise development, BE points and tax exemption breaks and so on has been used very effectively by the corporates, it hasn't in any way reduced unemployment and economic disempowerment. So we're all going to get together and say, what's the route here? The simple route is self-economic empowerment. Support people. So the banks have to shift. Instead of saying, you need to tick 50,000 tick boxes and you have to have 5 checks and whatever, we have to invest at risk.
Yes.
How do we grow an economy if we don't risk? If the banks aren't going to come to the party, the corporations aren't going to come to the party, we're actually going to have unemployment increase. If unemployment and economic disempowerment increases, okay, then there's going to be less customers for your corporate anyway. So
exactly,
we've got to go from an I to a we. And the corporates, I know they're going to probably laugh at me when I'm saying this if they're listening, but you've got to shift from shareholder value to broader customer support and helping the greater good. Okay, so everybody talks helping the greater good, but that in our BE thing, it's 5%. You hand over 5%, up to 5%, up to 1% of your after-tax profits, and you get 5 points or 5% or whatever. That's not enough. It's not even close. We've got to pull together and say we're all in this together. So let's the government come to the party, the corporates come to the party, and the banks. I mean, I have to have money to borrow money. It's such an archaic.
Doesn't make sense.
It's such an archaic way. Now, you've got, we've got Bevan, and he's got this amazing idea, and all he needs is 5,000 rand. Oh no, Bevan, give me your auntie's, your uncle, your backgrounds, your
title deeds, everything.
Title deeds, your history from 500 years ago, and then they reject you. There must be, we've got there's a thing called impact investing that the corporates decided they're going to a couple of years ago. I went to a couple of talks.
Yes.
By the time they'd finished, they were going to have more draconian ways to sign up for impact investing than you would get for a loan from a bank. But then you see, what the banks aren't telling you, they'll give a big corporation $1 billion and possibly lose $1 billion. But they won't give you 5,000 to start. Now we need 10 million people getting 5,000 rand. We'll flip and blow this economy apart. Because then people have got a little bit of capital to go by. They can get in there. They can start to sell their T-shirts. They can start to fix their surfboards. They can start to sell their product. That's all you need. When we asked people, we did a kind of a thing, a little service, a study of the younger people coming in. Okay, and we said, so give us the skinny now. What's going on? You're all unemployed. You've come out of secondary education or not, and And they said to us, first, we want to be free, and we want to be empowered, and we want to have creativity, and we want to have variable streams of income, and we want to. I want to work at night for an American company for a few hours, and I'm going to have surf in the morning. Then I'm going to do a Uber. Right? So, what do you need? On average, I needed 1,500, 2,000 rand to get going. Now, if the banks gave that with their billions of rands of the profit, then there's no risk because that comes in back into the economy anyway. Right?
Of course,
that will grow their customer base. Maybe they can. So there's a lot of work to do where people always considered what they call the economically disempowered sector. That's a big risk to them. But these, of all the young people particularly, but anybody coming through our door, they've got ideas, they've got dreams, they don't want to beg, they want handouts, they want to say, give me something now, whether it's some resources, some equipment. So that's why on DreamXchange you can swap or give stuff besides looking for opportunities. And we'll get to DreamXchange because it's a very powerful platform, and I wanted to share with the listeners some of its features. That it's not a job-seeking site. It can be, but there's dozens of other stuff you can do. So that's the answer to that question, is that everybody needs to come together and say, how can a country of 60 million become economically empowered.
Mm.
And let us be kind of the poster boy or the poster girl, now there's a whole woke way to say boy and girl and him and her anyway. How can we
I love it.
how can we as South Africa and into Africa
Sure.
show the world that we can actually turn this around quickly?
And in particular, I agree with you, because if you look at because this has been something that I mean, maybe all of us. If you look at the GDP of the different countries in Africa, I think Nigeria is now the top country with the biggest GDP, if I'm correct. But in terms of what South Africa has to offer, if we look at all our mineral resources that's here, and we don't want to sound political, it's business. If we look at all the mineral resources here and everything the country has to offer, our tourism sector, our property sector, we're supposed to be leading in Africa when it comes to this type of things. I think if I have, but as little wisdom I have, if I have everything correctly, we're not only supposed to lead in Africa, but we're supposed to lead in so many, we're supposed to be the leading country to so many other countries with what we have. You understand? So I definitely agree with you in terms of what you are saying there. Quickly, you've mentioned something about MSI, multiple streams of income. This is something that I'm trying to also echo to entrepreneurs, especially the ones that is upcoming. You understand? You want to do your business. You want to be in the X service industry. That is your business, that is your vision, that's your primary industry. How important is it from your side, Mr. Ronald, while building that thing, to have that sort of because what we're trying to do with it, so we're trying to educate as well. So to have that sort of multiple streams of income while you building X, if you get what I'm trying to say. How important and ensuring that you don't drift away from your vision and that you don't not focus on your vision, because if you want to build something into something successful, you have to be like soos 'n donkie met klappe aan. Get what I'm trying to focus on this thing and build this thing. However, you still need to earn while building this thing. How important is it to look at having multiple streams of income and have other sort of things going for you so that you can ensure that you sustain yourself financially, but you're still getting to that point where your bigger vision is coming to a fulfillment?
Yeah, it's exceptionally important. I come back to the study we did with people, 4,000 interviews, and variety was the one thing. Now think about this. The story we told is get your job, either from skills, build up qualifications, tertiary education, get your job. That's security. Who had security in COVID? Nobody. Everybody was vulnerable. Except the people who were self-economically empowered with a variable range of income streams. So now you flip it around. So the story we're going to tell here, and hopefully we'll tell forever in the future, is that there's a couple of positives about that, and very powerful positives. If you start to build a variable stream of income, a couple of things you're doing all at once or every day or every week, every month, the risk is diminished. You lose your car cleaning business for whatever reason, but you still got a taxi service, you're still selling plants, you're still selling T-shirts, you're still cleaning houses. Okay, it diminishes the risk. Then most of us, and I put my hand up included, what do you want to do when you come out of school, Ronald? And I haven't a clue. Okay. Because that's too early a question for some of us. We've got to dabble. So now that allows you to dabble. And through that dabbling, you could have think, I'm definitely going to create a business, and the factory's we're going to build a factory, going to sell amazing internationally range of T-shirts, whatever. But over time, you suddenly see your house cleaning business is booming.
Yes.
And suddenly you realize from house cleaning you can go to car cleaning, from car cleaning you go to hotel cleaning, and all of a sudden what was your original vision, there's very few people who at age 18 walking out of school are doing the same thing now in their 50s and 60s. Beautiful. And what gigging allows you to do, the self-economic empowerment, when you get to your older age, because I'm a dinosaur. I know you tell everybody, the listeners, I'm looking young, but as this is not political.
Don't worry, he's a handsome. He's a handsome guest today. Don't stress.
and if you think about it, and this is not political, white South African over 60, no chance. Actually, every chance, because there's opportunities to go out. So now you're coming to that age, what they call retirement. But I was told many years ago when I was 14, take that word.
Love your mindset.
take the word out the
Uh,
dictionary, and actually
uh.
you're gonna the most creative things that have happened on this planet are people aged 60 to 90 or 100. So it's absolutely vitally important to answer your question that we encourage people to dabble when they're young, try things out, and we goes, oh, failure. Well, it's not failure; it's an outcome. Nothing that's called failure. Okay, so your T-shirt business, like you've been undercut by the Chinese on price, but hey, keep going. Maybe there's another opportunity. And there's a wonderful story goes back absolutely hundreds of years. Goes back a century where one of the big stationery companies, they had cut the paper incorrectly.
Yes.
You know that one, eh? And then they had extra glue, and somebody said, let's put a little glue thing at the top. And now the post-it note is probably one of the most used things in the planet, but that was two mistakes come together, and it became one of the world's most famous products. And so these are the kinds of things that come out of what we call outcomes. Exactly. Failure. It's very, very vital that we encourage them not to go, do you want to become a doctor? You must become an accountant. You know how many accountants I know actually living in McGregor, and they're painting and they're doing gardening and they're doing amazing stuff, because that, like, at some point, you need variety. We're not born to be just one thing some people are, but we're not born to be one thing on this planet. So, self-economic empowerment is what DreamXchange is all about, and there's so many things you can do on the site. So I hope at some point before the interview is finished, you're going to ask me about some of the features.
Yeah, I want to go into DreamXchange, but before we're getting there, your answer made my next question so easy. I love entrepreneurs to speak about their failures, because the thing is outcomes. Okay, let's say the outcomes. So when it comes to, in my words, failures, so entrepreneurs rave about their success points. If you get them at events speaking, if you get the opportunity to sit with them, they speak about their success points. I don't have a problem with that. I love it. You understand? We need to echo our success. However, I have a problem when you don't tell me about your failures, because the reason for that is a business is not something that's what so in months can roast. Everybody's in business now. There's some months that your staff is paid, but you have to rent to figure out how you're going to pay your bond, how you're going to do X, Y, Z. That is the life of an entrepreneur. You get what I'm trying to say for some point, especially in the starting point, because people think you're automatically wealthy when you're doing business. I don't know where it comes from. So, I like to hear from entrepreneurs their failures, because that is what we, as upcoming entrepreneurs, can learn the most out of, preventing us from making that same mistakes or having that same outcomes and so forth. So what do you see, maybe for you, or maybe generalizing it, as your in your life as an entrepreneur or working with entrepreneurs, what is the biggest failure and something maybe we have in common, and how do you as an entrepreneur get over that? How do you deal with it? What do you do when you had that failing outcome? So how do you deal with that?
So here's an interesting thing to consider. It's going to be a failure for you if your vision's not strong enough inside of you.
Sure.
So when your vision's strong, you'll just push through. Very brief story about us.
Sure.
Joined a little outfit in Hart Bay. I brought in funding. The guys fired me because they didn't want me to do that. So that's considered a failure. But then you say, what's the door here? Working with provincial government at the time, they said, no, you and your wife, Tanya, you guys come and start something else. So we started Dream Worker. So out of that failure came the next success.
Sure.
But then they didn't want to, the managers within the system wanted to, at the government department wanted to pass, but support us. But the big lady who was Director General didn't want it. So we push. She gave me 15 rejections. Doesn't want to see me, doesn't want to see me, doesn't want to see me. Finally, when I saw her, she gave me 15 minutes. I said, I'm going to make you famous. We're going to solve unemployment in the Western Cape. So give me a chance. She says, I like your face. Nice shirt you got on. Let's do it, okay? And so the knocks came along. So then we had not gone for 3 years. And then the politics changed. So the political party changed. And that was now, they stopped funding to us as well. Now we had to fight for the remainder of the contract. And now we got no money. Then we suddenly get another fund. So if you look at that and the vision, what's the vision? We are going to try and solve unemployment in this country. We are actually going to help the next unemployed person walks out the door, economically empower themselves, find them some work, etc., etc. So if the vision's strong enough, now, and talking about vision, so what's my vision? To have DreamXchange go across South Africa, and the world. Making self-employment sexy again.
So
that's the vision.
love it.
And so we can all, then we start to work to it. Suddenly we haven't got pyramids and we haven't got people, it's you versus me, it's corporate versus the self-employed. No, when we're begging for a corporate, they're going to come to us in the future. They're going to go, oh, now we're going to need people who are going to help us on a contracted basis, because most of the world's work is going to go into the future is going to be contract. You're never going to have a job anyway. The word, people can take that word out at the dictionary now. Anybody listening? Go to the dictionary, scrub job out.
I love that.
Self-economic empowerment. And then self-economic empowerment gives you the freedom to create, to think, to diversify, to expand at the time. So COVID did force us to work at home. However, when I said to my team, you can come back to work now, they said, no, it's fine. We'll stay at home. Because now they're creating at home. They don't have to travel. They haven't got that lost. And we do
People
get
become
together.
more creative.
So it's all of a sudden, and it doesn't mean to say you weren't working in an office or you weren't working in a factory. That's fine. But can you use that creativity? Can you expand? So self-economic empowerment is probably the phrase that people are going to get sick of having listened to this interview. But it gives you the freedom. It gives you the creativity. And that's where we need to be all sharing this story with each other. Then suddenly there's not this, oh, my children are going to come out of schooling, no jobs. No, my children are already doing self-economic empowerment in secondary school, in tertiary education systems. And so when they exit into what is called the world of work, it's suddenly not this blank wall that hits them. They've been trying stuff. They've been getting, they've been, now just imagine if you start a gig while you're studying. You start to, network. Networking is the most amazing thing, because when I started Dream Work, I must have gone to 4 or 5 networks a week. They called me Mr. Network.
Network is
very
very important.
Here he is again with those crazy shirts. Okay, right, what does he want? Oh, he's going to sell Dream Worker, DreamXchange us again. Oh, okay, let's listen to him. And marketing is all about telling the same story.
Yes.
And then, delivering that promise and that's the thing. You don't have to start a business to do self-economic empowerment. You can start it from your home. The internet's available. You can start a little something and get a little website going from your friend. You can put it out into the marketplace and suddenly you're selling your lovely boots that you've created out of leather from nowhere. That's the inspiration.
So powerful.
To drive people.
Before we get into my next question, I have to pop in this question. Where do you get your inspiration for your shirts from? Who inspires you? I had to.
I hope she's listening. Tanya, my wife. Number one. But it's a long list of people. I've been into this kind of inspirational stuff from Earl Nightingale on Springbok Radio. Nogal, it's the only thing we ever had in the 1970s. Okay,
that's way before my time.
Leo Buscalia, Wayne Dyer, Deepak Chopra, Marianne Williamson, and I can keep going on. Patanjali from 2,200 years ago. I read a lot. I pick up stuff, but the people, my greatest inspiration comes from meeting people like you and the next person at a coffee shop, in the road, finding out what you're doing, who you are, what's driving you, because people are continually creating the most amazing lives and expansive economic opportunities from nothing, just from. Because inspiration is inspirite, it's your breath of life, so that imagination. We are now being charged or challenged in the next couple of 20, 30 years to actually use our imagination and create things beyond our current, what we see around us. And most of those people you're quoting earlier on in the chat, they just woke up with an idea one day. I want to. I think every housewife should have. I mean, they were building computers the size of this building, and they were selling 5 a year. IBM.
Yes, IBM is.
Somebody comes along with a vision, says, "I think you need, now that we got it into a little box, not the laptop, but into a little box. Now we need in everybody's home." People going, "You got Steve Jobs? You nuts."
You crazy, yes.
And that's the best. When you've got an idea and people say you're nuts, then you know onto
that is one of his favorite quotes.
Then you know you're onto a good thing.
That is one of Steve Jobs' favorite quotes. He say, it's normally the ones that they call crazy that change the world.
And now we got it. Now it's a lovely thing you just said, because now we all got to see ourselves as crazies, mavericks, nutcases, shaking the systems, because the old systems are tired and old.
Of course.
So here's a beautiful saying: we're not going to go and attack and defeat or try and break down the old systems. We're going to create new systems like DreamXchange, which makes the old ones redundant over time.
Beautiful. Let's just quickly, time is, we didn't even go for music, but let's just quickly go into what is some of the fantastic things that we can look forward to that DreamXchange is currently doing. Some of the programs, whatever you have at heart, you want us to know. that we need to know?
So DreamXchange have been set up to say we want to support the self-employed person who's let's call him a micro-entrepreneur, to use your entrepreneurship vocabulary, who can look for opportunities, work opportunities, equipment support, and normal support, mentorship. They can post that out if they've got that to offer, a work opportunity, some form of equipment, and they can put that out there. And then while you're doing this, you can go on and you can promote yourself. And you can promote anything, your products, your services, your work, any equipment you want, anything. You can say you can offer this, you can request it, and promote yourselves. Do it with a short video. While you're on the system, and it's DreamXchange.co.za, so if you want all gone now, you can have a quick look. You go into a province, and that's where you kind of land. It's your landing page. And what we're setting up the system to do in the future is that you can chat to each other as well. It's like
beautiful.
Hey, Bevan, I just see you doing this amazing stuff. You are launching this program, which is a subset of Eerstrivier River Radio, and then you're gonna, and then people can look at it and check it out and maybe support you. And then you're going to be able to go into any province in any country around the world, and see what's going on there. And this is not set up. It's, you know, it still needs to populate. It needs to grow. And you're like, so what are the IT opportunities in California? What are the agricultural opportunities in Malawi? You can look for these, request, talk to each other about that. And then finally, we've created a thing called a group, where, for example, the students are going to come on board per college, per faculty, and those IT students can form a group, and they can talk to each other. They can promote themselves on the system. Anybody can promote themselves, but they can say, hey guys, we are 15 IT students. We're still in our final year of college, but we want to do a website for somebody. We need to raise 5,000 rands, and we're going to do it for the Gogo Mama down the road who's looking after 50 AIDS children, and then they can talk to the public sector about that, promote themselves. And so now we're talking about what we call an economic empowerment circle. That's everybody starting to get involved in and support each other, not isolated. I'm trying to isolate, trying to start my self-employment entrepreneurship journey, or I'm trying to find a job. You're talking to people, you're connecting with people, you're requesting opportunities, you're offering opportunities, and you promote yourself, even with a short little 2-minute video. You know, hey, I'm collecting stuff on the beach. There's a wonderful video of a guy that we put onto our social media, onto our YouTube channel. And he was picking up stuff on the beach, and so we filmed him, put him on there. Now there's more support coming in for him. And he's turning plastic, not only cleaning the Out Bay Beach, but he's turning plastic into golf tees. And there it starts there. Who knows where that's going to go? So imagination, there's creativity in the world. And the one thing, besides the fact that job isn't the only way to go, the other thing we've got to get through our mind, this country has a 4.5 trillion rand economy. It's got a 1.6 trillion rand government budget. Nobody should be starving. The children should not be starving in this country. And there should be maximum opportunity. We, as an individual, self-empowered person, self-employed person, entrepreneur person, we have to say, it's there. I need to find out. I need to network. I need to who I'm going to talk to. Who am I going to make it happen? Don't wait for it to come from somewhere else, because it's not going to come.
Of course, agree with you, definitely. Quickly, I've noticed that DreamXchange is, when you go to the website, if you get a chance, DreamXchange.co.za, you will notice that there is everyone. You're helping everyone, and what I love to see is just from the look at it, you can see people from the local community getting their training, getting the much needed information to further build the business, or even to start your business. From the public side, what first question is, what is the cost to the service? Secondly, how can the public get more involved? And then lastly, can you just share with us? I see we ran out of time. We didn't even take a music break. Such a beautiful conversation we had. Apologies to everyone in the comment section that we did not greet and did not get to. We apologize for that, but we had so much to say. So with that being said, who is the individuals you can help? How can the public can get involved? How can they support you? If you are an entrepreneur, what do I do to get in touch with you? Just take us through.
So just get onto DreamXchange.co.za. Sign up. It'll take you literally 2 minutes for just some important information that we need. Once you're on the site, and it's for free. Anybody can go on for free. Our kind of money section in the future is going to be that group section. It's like your Facebook group, but we're going to have a group section which is already established. And what we'd like the corporate staffs to come on board, because here's an interesting thing. You know, we talk about infinite possibility and opportunity we've spoken about. If we've got 10 million unemployed people, self-employed people trying to find their way into self-employment, self-economic empowerment, into entrepreneurship, building a little business, and we've got 10 million people who are employed, if they come onto the site and offer 2 days worth of work or some support or some mentorship, 2 days of work at 200 Rand a day, 200 Rand a day, and it's just 2 days of work a month. It's a 48 billion Rand economy waiting to happen. Just if
Exactly.
that's all you need. Everything is such a big vision and there's so much to do. No, just start small. Instead of doing the
Sure, I
garden
love your
yourself, get the
mindset.
garden to
Sure.
get, employ a gardener. If you need a job at the house, come into the system, find painters, find people who can fix your car. So it'd be lovely people who have work, who have opportunity, who have things to give, who have mentorship to give, who have equipment to give. Come onto the site and offer that. And the self-employed people will connect it, and the algorithms will connect people looking for a computer or gardening work or spades to do gardening or paint brushes, etc., etc. That's how people can get involved. If you're unemployed or you're looking to self-economically empower, then get on and sign up. But if you already have work, and if you're part of a corporate or you've got a job, get onto the site and help somebody. And if we've got 10 million people helping 10 million other people, we'll solve the economic disempowerment quite quickly, which hasn't been done for the last 20 years. And that's the vision too, is to get everybody self-economically empowered, so everybody can come onto the site and everybody can make a difference, whether you're looking for something or able to offer something.
Of course,
something.
yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Ronald, I definitely have to invite you to another slot, because I feel like we have so much that we can still discuss, and there's so much that we can as a public learn from you. So definitely just want to thank you for your time and just coming to re-emphasize what entrepreneurship is about and the help that they need. And I just want to give a shout out to you and your staff for doing what you're doing. I think I know that what you are doing, it's daar's 'ander paar mensetjies wat dit doen, but not the way you are doing it. And with all due respect to the government, state-owned enterprises that's trying to do what they're doing, I don't think they really serve purpose. However, I don't want to get sued here. So thank you to you and your staff for what you are doing. Definitely going to invite you to the show. Also see what the business up with some of our other projects that we're having, that we're running, and Radio Eerstrivier, how we can collaborate more.
Fantastic.
So to the public, stay tuned to our socials and everything, so you can see what it is that DreamXchange is about. If you want to make contact, 021 448 5828 is that number. You can go over to the website www.dreamexchange.co.za. Exchange is with an X, so it's Dream, DREAM, exchange.co.za. If you did not get the details, you can WhatsApp the number that you are used to, 0645369095, and we will definitely put you in touch with them. Before we go, we definitely ran out of time. I don't want to pay a fine to the production for getting out too late outside the studio. Can you possibly just give us a word of motivation to any entrepreneur listening to your short, kort en kragtig, soos die wyser mense altyd gesê het? Wat is jou motivation to them today before we go?
Well, Bevan, firstly, thank you for the opportunity. It's been absolute pleasure chatting to you. Next time you invite me, and I'm going to certainly wear a more colorful shirt to outcolor you.
Okay, that is a competition. Bevan versus Ronald.
I'm
the official shirt competition.
And in a nutshell, we wanting people to look at their own self-empowerment, their power within. You are a magnificent being. You have all the tools capable of really living the life you want to live. And so it's get out there, show up, be persistent, and have a really clear, powerful vision.